now we can start. And it starts in this fall, and we're just happy to, one, introduce the major, two, hopefully you can get to know two of these great departments, economics and the Center of Human Health. And then we can have some questions regarding curriculum. And let's start this now. So first and foremost, in our agenda, we will be introducing our directors of undergraduate studies. We will be talking about our undergraduate program coordinators, the overview of our major, certain career paths, curriculum, research, student involvement, and then overall next steps, because we want to make sure that it's not just a major that you're completing, but it's actually something that's going to benefit your life after Emory. That's our largest focus between our two departments. Which brings us to the first friendly faces, directors of undergraduate study. And we have our Dr. Hugo Mylon in economics, and Dr. Amanda Freeman will also be here speaking for human health. She'll be speaking in a couple of slides soon. And then for undergraduate program coordinators, my name is Aisha Gordon, nice to meet you all. And Shira Sadoff is there in human health. So that being said, I think it's really important and pertinent to speak on specifically human health, why, how does that intersect within economics? And so we thought first we should provide you with some intros. So economics. For some of you, you might have assumed that economics is primarily only about finances maybe, but economics is really a social science. It's associated to people. Why do they decide the things that they do? And you're utilizing these statistical applications within a particular context, like human health. What you'll find within not just our courses, but our array of faculty is that they're usually studying why certain behaviors, why do people make certain decisions, and then how can we build out policies or laws or any type of strategic consulting in order to solve these problems. And so our largest focus is on that micro side of economics, which is more so specific issues within not just the economy, but also within a hospital. You're going to see there's a large array.
So hi, this is Dr. Freeman from the Center for the Study of Human Health. And an introduction to our program, the way that I usually describe human health as a whole is we have classes that get into the nitty-gritty science of health. So I teach classes that look at how inflammation and oxidative stress actually impact chronic disease and how they lead to chronic disease. What are the molecular pathways? I also teach a class on how sleep impacts health. We have a lot of classes that look at nutrition and those pathways by which they influence health. But at the same time, we recognize that we're more than just anatomy and physiology. Our society and culture around us shape our health and vice versa. And so how we interpret, how we define health, how we experience health are the other component of human health. And so it's really bringing those two parts together. We can't just look at a molecular pathway and claim to understand health. We have to look at the person as a whole, their social health, their spiritual health, their mental health, their physical health, cognitive health. These all go together. And so that's all part of what we consider human health. Our students have gone on to a variety of different places, and we think that this is a great combination with economics because it is looking at things that can impact policy or business or many different aspects in which economics would also play into this.
Thank you, Amanda. Which brings us to the overview of our major. We kind of alluded to the connections between econ and human health, but I think, and even right now, even with recent current events, building the understanding between public health, the behaviors within it, healthcare and health policy is a important priority. And a lot of you, some that we've spoken to, some that we haven't, have shown that you've had this interest, have communicated that this is what you're looking for. How can I, within the health scope, really produce this type of change? So studying this behavior, we hope to create a foundation where not only are you getting that health context, specifically with human behavior and the science of health, but also how can I produce some change in this health sector, whether that be within policy or healthcare.
Yeah, I completely agree. You just have to look out our windows right now to be able to see how intertwined health and economics are and how they impact the fiber of our lives. So I think that this is a really relevant time for this, but we have heard for years that students have been interested in this. So we're really excited that this is finally available, and it's just a coincidence and timing that it's available right now when this is on the forefront and so evident. In terms of the curriculum, there are a total of 45 credit units that are required for the major. There are 5 foundational classes. It's Econ 101, Econ 112, and Econ 201, as well as Health 210 and Health 250. So these are the principles of microeconomics and macroeconomics and intermediate microeconomics. It's also the introduction to predictive health and society, which is predictive health is how we could have a biomarker to predict health, not just a few years, but decades and generations in advance, and the foundations of global health. These are foundational classes on which other courses are going to build. And so this is a great starting point, and many of the econ classes here that are foundational courses are prerequisites for later classes. We also require that you have 2 courses in health care policy. There are actually 3 different classes that you can choose from for healthcare organization and policy that would fit into this. These are Econ 371, 372, and Health 370, which is health policy. We require you to have 1 class in a biomedical or health ethics. That can be fulfilled by Health 331, which is disability and bioethics, or Health 333, which is American healthcare ethics. We also require you to have 3 methods courses. The methods courses can be Econ 220, which is probability and statistics for economists with a laboratory. There's Econ 320, which is econometrics with a lab. And there's Health 306, designing health research. I do want to point out that designing health research, Health 306, does have a prerequisite of Health 207, fundamentals of epidemiology. So I just point that out so you can be planning ahead for that. And I also want to point out that make sure there was a typo on an earlier version of the requirement sheet that had that listed with the wrong course number, but the title designing health research is correct. Then in order to put like the foundational economic concepts into perspective, there are 3 context and application of health electives that you have to choose from. There's a very specific list of which econ or which health courses fulfill that, and that's available on the requirement sheet or on the website for that. Finally, there's a research capstone. This is Econ 470 or Health 470, which are research in economics.
Thank you, Amanda. Funnily enough, this semester was the first time we've offered 470, and I found it to be very applicable for the students who are taking the class. They're very excited, even with the transition to moving it to remote. It's one of the times of, we've taken all this time to think of theory, right? We've taken all this time to consider the problems, and now we can actually solve them in an applicable manner. So that brings us to, outside of coursework, what is actually a little known resource, and it really has to do with our faculty. Our faculty outside of courses are operating within the human health and economic world actively. Some of their publications, some of their research, you're going to see that they're producing the change that they hope to make. That being said, I want to introduce just a couple of our health economists that we have here. The first one would be Sarah Markowitz. Sarah Markowitz is a very interesting, she's a joint hire from the School of Public Health, or Rollins School of Public Health, for those of you who are interested in MPH. She has a lot of relationships there, but also she's a health economist here, and she focuses on the effects of things. How does wage affect infant mortality? How does job mobility affect chronic health conditions and the early effects of the Affordable Care Act? That is the operating world for Sarah. Then we have Dr. Ian McCarthy. He's currently teaching our Econ and Health 470 course, so our application where you're actually applying all of the things that you have learned for the past 4 years. And you'll notice for Dr. Ian McCarthy, he operates within a world of looking at physician and patient behaviors. He's always considering what is the most ethical way we can run a hospital in a manner that is also efficient and takes care of every individual involved. So it's definitely on the industrial organization side, but still within health. And then we have Dr. Evan Saltzman. You guys might have had classes with him. If you've already done Econ 201, he is an individual who's directly associated with health insurance, markets, and policy. Evan Saltzman has a lot of relationships within the CDC. And so currently right now he's advising a couple of students who have interest with working with them. And then Chris Carbonick. Chris Carbonick is a very interesting health economist because he operates within the health world, but he studies human capital. So how to develop individuals. You're going to see that a lot of his research or the private sector work that he ends up working within has to do with economics of education. How does that affect individuals' developmental health? When it comes to the wages or wealth distribution or inequality, how does that affect the overall cognitive development? So that's what Dr. Carbonick really ends up focusing the most on.
So an introduction to the human health faculty. The director of the Center for the Study of Human Health is Dr. Michelle Lample, and her area of expertise is in human growth and development, and the developmental origins of health. We also have Dan Benardat. He has a long research history. He's worked with many elite athletes on nutrition and exercise science and body composition. Most recently, he has looked at those within the context of performing arts. What do you need in order to, nutritionally, in order to sustain yourself as an opera singer is a challenge, much like being able to sustain the energy needed for a marathoner. Dr. Chris Eagle has a humanities background, and he studies language loss and cultural ideas about illness in the body. He teaches our Health 230 class. It's not part of this major, but if you're familiar with the human health program, it is part of its health and humanities. That's me. I'm Dr. Amanda Freeman. I am a neuroscientist by training, and I study the genetic and neurological mechanisms of neuronal function, as well as how the brain regulates sleep. So if you'll advance. And then we have Dr. Cassandra Quave. She is an ethnobotanist, and her laboratory does research into antibiotic drug discovery, and she teaches classes that look at how societies use plants as medicine. We have Dr. Jennifer Surrett. Her area of specialty is intellectual and developmental disabilities, and she looks at them with a neuroethical perspectives. She's one of the teachers for the disability and bioethics. I should have mentioned that Dr. Chris Eagle is the teacher he teaches Health 333, which is American Healthcare Ethics. So he also has an ethics component. Dr. Surrett also teaches classes that look at, in her personal research, looks at health and developmental disabilities within the context of the criminal justice system, how they contribute to it and how they impact that. Dr. Jill Welkley studies exercise, physical activity, and stress and mental health. She has an exercise physiologist background. And Dr. Myra Woodworth-Hodds is both a nutritionist, and she also studies sports nutrition and skeletal muscle biology. But these are just the core faculty of the Center for the Study of Human Health. We have numerous associated and affiliated faculty across campus. We have very close relationships with a number of the faculty in the School of Medicine, Laney Graduate School, and Rollins School of Public Health. In fact, some of those faculty that we work with quite regularly are teaching the classes that are applicable for the joint major, including health policy, designing health research, delivering health, and so you will meet those faculty as well.
I think that's what excites me the most about this major when it comes to the faculty are really the cornerstone of what next, what your life after Emory could look like, right? And when I see these connections with the human health faculty, I am astounded with not only their connections, but the type of experience that they can provide you. So outside of talking about curriculum, I definitely implore you to please utilize your faculty. They are more than just teaching you. They are operating within the world that you hope to live in.
Exactly.
Which brings us to extracurriculars. Outside of curriculum, outside of faculty, what are other resources that keep you engaged and connected to other opportunities? Within the econ department, we have an economic student society, which is a student-led organization, has over 100 participants currently, and they usually do programming that would benefit your life after Emory, such as career panels, senior panels, where you can hear, how did I survive? And how can I really make my time at Emory the most beneficial? And then they also do things during as an econ major, as an econ major, how do I utilize the mentorship? We have a mentorship program within them, and they usually offer a lot of opportunities with other alumni who operates within particular sectors such as triage. A lot of our graduates have gone into health consulting after the fact, and so we have a strong relationship with triage. Within Economic Student Society, there is a honor society, Omicron Delta Epsilon, ODE for short, and that is an invitation only. That's invitation only, and you're going to see, we have the requirements on our econ website, 3.7 GPA, 4 econ classes at minimum. It's something that you're invited to, and being a part of that honor society, outside of it being something to add to your CV or resume, it primarily has to do with exclusive opportunities that are only available to these high achieving students. That would be, most recently, we had planned to have a partner from PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, to speak to you. It's a very intimate group. So versus you going to an event with 100 people, this would be a group of 20, and you being able to really pick the brain of those that could really benefit your life after Emory. Those are the types of opportunities available to ODE. And then also another subgroup within ESS is the Emory Economics Review. Those of you who may have heard of them, if you haven't, get to know them. They're actually the publication part. They are the world of, you've considered Emory, you've considered economics on an academic standpoint, maybe on a research standpoint, but let's talk about it, how it affects the world around us. So they publish articles that is associated to the different sectors, not just within economics, but just the real world. And how does that affect, and where does econ fit? They end up publishing an article a month, and being a part of the Emory Economics Review. I know they do. They have their own e-board. They operate within bonding. It's one of our newest parts of economics, but what we find is you have people who are econ majors, not econ majors. It just really helps to show how can we solve these problems that are happening within the world, and how can we utilize different interdisciplinary areas in order to do so.
In the Center for the Study of Human Health, we have a number of different student organizations. A lot of our students are requesting ways they want to be actively involved and actively engaged in helping people improve their health. And so we have the Atlanta Science Festival outreach. We have a booth that is designed by students that has interactive, engaging demonstrations of scientific principles that are aimed at kids 6 through 12 and their families. We have an educational garden in which you can contribute. It's over there by the depot. If you're ever wandering by, that's the Human Health Educational Garden. We have a Human Health a Health and Humanities book club. We have eating partners. These are a group of students who are very interested in nutrition, who are passionate about nutrition. Sometimes they are in the dining halls, helping you figure out how to find more nutritious options for meals. They are at Wonderful Wednesday, touting recipes that you can actually make in a dorm or in your apartment with, that are inexpensive but very nutritious ways to get those meals. And they have many outreaches into the community as well. We have a news team, and these students write articles for our blog. very busy right now with new information about COVID-19 and different efforts that are going on around campus and different impacts that it has. They are actively engaged, usually publishing at least 3-ish articles across the news team each week. We also have Visions of Health, which is an ongoing collaborative art project that we started in spring 2017. We actually have a remote edition going on right now, so if you're interested in creating a visual representation of your vision of health, you can talk to me afterward and I can tell you how to be involved with that. But we've got a wide gamut of different activities, ways in which you can get some hands-on experience and get actively engaged as early as possible.
And this really, I think I would say, rounds out your experience here at Emory. While you are phenomenal students and you work within academic realm, understanding that holistically, which is kind of the joint major of human health and econ, there's many ways to solve a problem, and you have to be engaged in it as many ways as possible so that you can find the different ways to solve said problem. Which brings us more so to our next steps. You know, we've thrown a lot of information at you. You've given us curriculum. We've talked about faculty. We've talked about ways to be engaged in our dual departments. And your best next step is reaching out to your undergraduate program coordinators. So that would be me, Ishu Gordon, and Shira Sadoff, because this is the time when we're actually having that conversation regarding your individual interests. I know within the economics department, there are a large amount of students and they're all pursuing econ for totally different reasons. A human health econ joint major would operate in the same manner. So we need to hear about you, your needs, what you hope your life after Emory would look like. That is what the declaration process would look like. You're able to declare your major as soon as fall. And it's very critical because, as you'll notice, there is a lot to complete, and we want to make sure not only do you complete the major, but we want to make sure that it is a beneficial time, and it's something that you can leverage a lot of the extracurricular activities. So why declare now? What is the point? I'm not sure. What should I do? Declaring provides you 2 faculty advisors. So I know we gave you a few of our faculty within our departments, but you would have 2 direct experts, one in the field of economics and then one in the field of human health, to utilize for things outside of just advising, really utilizing them for what does their life actually look like, realizing that life wasn't linear, understanding their private sector work or their research. This is where you start building out what's your next step. And then finally, say that you're not having a direct expert isn't necessarily something that you're speaking about, but at the minimum, even if you aren't sure about econ or human health, by declaring you're getting on a listserv that you would not be on other than that. And that's where you learn about the career opportunities, internships, research and teaching assistant opportunities. That is why, and that is how people get to know what departments are doing, because it only gets sent out to their majors and minors. So your next step, if anything at all, would be to declare in order to get as much information as possible. Which brings us to our question and answers. One, thank you so much for your time. If you could do us a favor and within the Zoom chat feature, please communicate any questions that you might have, and then I will volley it either to Dr. Freeman, Shira, or I will answer. How do you declare a joint major on College Connect? The good news is actually not on College Connect. I can provide you all a link in the chat, in the group chat function, because it's on OUE's website. So you are going to the right place. But under their resources, they have a declare a major section, and it's that form that you would fill out, and that would start the process to declare that joint major. Yes, we could talk about some career paths. I can talk about career paths our students currently utilize, but those who currently utilize and wish that they had this joint major. And then Dr. Freeman or Shira, if you can share from your standpoint what career paths you would think those within the joint major would have.
Sure.
Okay, so our previous graduates, we actually do a lot of understanding their current needs, what were their needs previously before they graduated, and what are their needs now. And a lot of our graduates are going into the health sector world associated with consulting. Consulting operates within this health world where it's either in policies, laws, or industrial organization, meaning how is a hospital operating? How can it be as efficient as possible? We have a lot of relationships because of this within different corporations, but also on the side of, I guess, more on the development side of things. So how does labor and development affect, like Dr. Markowitz, affect influenza rates? Or people go into academia after the fact. Right now, the biggest part is getting your hands in as many things as possible, as many opportunities, because when it comes to majors, your life isn't linear. That is not how this works. It's more so you always want to ask yourself, what do you find the most interesting within each of these subjects? Because that why will guide you to what's next.
So in terms of human health, we're a relatively new program. This is going to be our 6th graduating class. I have surveyed our graduating seniors the last couple of years, and so this information is based upon the human health major, not necessarily this joint major, but I think it's applicable. Some of our students, about 15-ish%, 20-ish%, go on to healthcare provider roles, be it a physician or physician's assistant, physical therapy, nursing, dentistry. But the largest cluster that plan to go to graduate school and career-wise are students who are interested in public health. That includes global health, epidemiology, environmental health, behavioral health sciences, and health policy is a big interest of a number of our students. We have maybe 20% who go on to other academic research, be it anthropology or psychology, neuroscience, biology, and about 20% who want to go on to business and law. We have some students who've started their own businesses, some who are just interested in the combination of business and something that's health oriented. And those who have gone on to law school really have been interested in health policy. For our students, though, who are going on to jobs directly out of college, a number of them, much like economics, have gone on to healthcare consulting. So it's a very common area of from there. We've also had a number who've worked at nonprofits. One's worked trying to get healthier, more nutritious meals into schools for kids' lunches. They've gone to ESPN. There's a really wide variety in terms of where our students have gone, because health is so applicable to so many things. I imagine this joint major is going to be really helpful for policy and healthcare development. It's going to be a big interest. So.
Definitely. You actually reminded me of a stat. We did a survey for those when we were trying to propose this to inquire of those who have graduated, did they wish that they had this available to them? And it was a resounding yes, because it's one thing to have the theory. I think one of the questions that had come through my chat was asking what's the difference between the major and the double major with econ and human health. And I think a larger part is where both of our majors, you're able to go into this world of consulting. You end up upping some of your marketability because you operate within a place of strategy. So the statistical techniques of econ, but within the health sector world, within human health. And sometimes you have only one or the other. And this really provides you that type of groundwork and foundation so that your life after Emory isn't associated to a particular path. It really could go a myriad of ways. Let's see. There was a question regarding the listserv, if it's too late to declare. It is never too late to declare. You can declare now. There's no timeline associated to that. If you did have questions, say that you were even being a first year student, because it's your second semester, you can totally declare. We will provide our emails outside of the declaration link I'll be sending there. I'll be providing our contact information. It's on our respective websites, just so that you can ask any particular individual specific questions. And is the major too heavy on math? Amanda, would you like to share about that?
I really don't think so. I think, you know, you need the foundation of the economic concepts, but it really is half econ classes and half human health, and
Yep.
that would be the joint major. And so you need those concepts in order to be able to apply them within the health context.
I agree. I can tell you out of our array of econ majors, they live on a continuum. There are those who love math every day of their life, and then there are those of like, wow, okay, math. But they see that in the end it is beneficial because then they get to work within the sectors and these contexts that they hope to work within. Because they understand why things are the way they are, and they can do better at producing some type of strategy or implementing a policy. And without that background, they kind of miss out. There someone is inquiring about a Bachelor of Science. This is currently a BA, Bachelor of Arts. It does not have a STEM designation, but it's something that we will be working on in the next year. But currently this does not have, I know most of our econ majors associate with a STEM designation. This major would not have a STEM designation. Research classes. How do research classes Health 306 and Health 470 work? Dr. Freeman, could you share about that?
Sure. So Health 306 is designing health research. The goal of that class, the aim of that class, is to figure out how you would write a grant that would be based upon health research, how you would structure a study, and what types of both qualitative and quantitative methods would be appropriate for the type of question that you're asking. So it's a really hands-on aspect for that. But it is within health, and then 470 would look at health more focused with, or research more focused within health economics specifically.
Yes. Funnily enough, it was something actually we only vaguely mentioned. Both of our departments work with a lot of pre-med students. I think that my favorite thing about our departments is that we operate within a world of context. And because of that, we have, when it comes to the coursework of, I'm pursuing pre-med, but I'm also a econ and human health joint major. Would this work? Is this possible? Yes. Utilize your undergraduate program coordinators, Trya and I, because we work towards strategy, but it is very doable. In regards to, is it applicable? How would it benefit you in the future? It only helps your marketability from just getting a bio major or chem major, but really pursuing other, you're pursuing other avenues, really spreads out what your application would look like. And the pre-health advisor has also seen this, and we've spoken about it. So you can definitely ask them a little bit more when it comes to creating your application package.
And I'd like to add to that. We actually, one of our objectives in creating this joint major was for pre-med students. We'd been approached by a number who were very interested in the intersection of economics and human health, but to do all of the pre-med requirements, plus the human health major, plus the economics major, it wasn't enough time. You can't take enough classes. So this major is 15 classes. And so if you think about the fact that you enroll in 4 or 5 classes per semester, you know, 5 classes a semester, that's 3 semesters. I wouldn't do it all in 3 semesters, but that's just to demonstrate that there's plenty of other room in your schedule for other pre-med requirements and other GERs. And so this really was designed to work with the demands of a pre-med course load. But it wasn't just for pre-med students. We wanted this for students who found out or kind of discovered their interest in this joint area. Like, I thought I really only wanted to do economics, but I realized I like it within the context of health. But they figured that out later, too late to start a second major at the same time. So we wanted this to be really accessible and applicable to a variety of students. And keeping it at 15 classes meant that it didn't have the STEM designation, but it did allow students from many different perspectives, many different backgrounds, to be able to combine it with other things that they were interested in.
Yes, I would say that outside of those who move into pre-health, we also have those who go into MBAs after the fact, And so this really sets you up, whether you're interested in going to international agencies such as the World Bank or the World Health Organization, the research sector, or if you're pursuing graduate learning, whether that be in master's or a PhD program. Our students, because health affects so many different avenues, right? It's not primarily only in delivering health, but there's everything from law to business to economics when it comes to the statistics and research part to it. But all in all, this really sets your stage so that you can do a myriad of things. You just have to help you guide you to what's next. I think the last question we have here is, do we need to take Math 111 and QTM 100 for this major? Math 111, which is Calc 1, is a prereq for Econ. Econ 101, well, it is for a prereq for Econ 201 and Econ 220. So yes, Math 111 is required for the major.
QTM 100 is not.
There you go. I believe that is our last question. Is there any other questions for anyone? Does the joint major include a 4+1 program with Rollins? No, but that's a great idea. That's something definitely to consider.
That'll be in the works someday.
I like it.
It'll be a great combination.
Okay, I believe that is it then. Thank you so much for allowing us to use this time. If you are currently within the group chat, I'm going to be putting my email. And Dr. Freeman and Shirai, could you put your emails also, just if they're looking to contact us, and I'll also put the declaration link for you, okay? Oh, new question. How high is the possibility that this major will be a STEM? Oh, that's okay, Ife. There's no possibility. There's more so that there's not a certain number associated to it. It's something that we're going to work on because, one, it's really beneficial for our international students. So it's something we'll be working on trying to get approved this year. If you are a senior and need a few of these courses to make the major requirements, will we be more likely to get added even from the wait list? Being a major is always beneficial, at least on the econ side. Being a major and being a graduating senior sets you up for a lot of success when it comes to trying to get into courses that are required for your major. Ms. Sadoff, Dr. Freeman, and I will work on you on an individual basis depending on what your needs are specifically. Okay, John?
For a number of the human health courses, most of our health courses have wait lists and we do not overload. There are a couple courses that we do overload, and we have a SurveyMonkey request for that. The ones that would be applicable here are Health 207, Fundamentals of Epidemiology, if you need to get to that prior to taking Designing Health Research would be the most applicable. So you can reach out to either me or Ms. Sadoff to get that link to that SurveyMonkey form.
That is very important, which even more talks about declaring and becoming on the listserv, because I foresee that you would not have that information if you weren't a major. Okay, John. Well, then we will be in talks depending on what your needs are. You can send an email to either of us and we can speak about transitioning you to the joint major.
Can I choose any health? So can I choose any health, like Health 351 or Econ course for electives? No, there are very specific elective courses that are listed. If you go to the Econ website, look for under the majors, you'll see a requirement sheet that does provide very specific classes which can be used to fulfill the context and application of health electives. There is a typo that is on the version that's up there. We'll be getting a new version up there, but as far as the elective courses, all those are fine. The only typo just to mention is under the methods courses, Designing Health Research has the wrong course number. It should be listed as Health 306.
Someone asked, can electives be petitioned, such as from the Oxford campus? I guess it really depends on when it comes to your economic electives. Based on your economic electives, is not a petition process. However, for the health, Dr. Freeman, could you speak a little bit more on that?
Right, we do have a petition process, and it would only be applicable to the health courses for this joint major. We have a form. You can ask us for the form, or if you declare the major, we can make sure that you have someplace you can download it from. The process is to explain why you think the class should count and how you want it to count, and you attach a copy of the syllabus. Each one of these petitions is considered on an individual case-by-case basis. So just because your best friend has it approved doesn't mean you will. You need to make a case as to why this should count for you, and it should be applicable when it's not something that we have listed here. It is certainly a possibility.
Okay. And I wanted to also confirm the checklist, the corrected checklist was updated on our website. So when you go to economics.emory.edu, you'll see the updated and undergraduate program, you'll see the updated checklist regarding those electives. Last question someone asked about is, how does this program compare to the health innovation program in the business school?
So the health innovation program in the business school is only open to human health majors or to business BBA students. And human health majors would actually apply to this program. Usually you apply to it in your sophomore year to complete the program within your junior and senior year. You take 4 different classes in the business school, 2 foundational classes, and then you get to choose 2 electives. The capstone class for the health innovation program replaces the capstone class that's required for the human health major. If you're in the business school, you would take 5 classes from human health. There are specific ones that you would take that would be available to that. And really, the difference is it would be 4 or 5 classes outside of the major, so only 4 business classes versus what you would get here would be 7 econ classes. The focus of what you're going to learn in those classes, the depth of the different disciplines that you're going to learn are going to be different between those 2. The health innovation program is not a major, it is a concentration, whereas this would be a joint major in econ and human health.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that is our last question. This is the last call for everyone. Okay, if you are looking for us, we have provided our information within the group chat. Definitely send us an email or visit our respective websites. We are here to help you individually, and please, please, please don't delay declaring, because this will set you up to be connected with these respective departments. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day.